Hey there, good morning, Barrie Free Methodist Church. I hope you are having a very good Monday morning. It's going to be a great week, I think, and I've got my favorite mug with my favorite hot drink in it. Do you have a favorite mug, by the way? This is mine. It makes me feel very cozy. It's got Jesus on it, and it says straight out of heaven. One of my students gave it to me out of Ajax, and so I love it. It makes me feel, makes me feel cozy, like a big ugly sweater. Makes you feel all warm inside. Big ugly mug with a feels like a big ugly sweater. Kind of odd. So let's take our first sip of coffee. Did I say coffee? See, I need my drink of coffee right now. So let's drink it together right now. Let's go. So good. So good. So good. Well, good morning. Pastor Jenn is off again for the next 24 hours. So if you see Pastor Jenn jump on this live stream, you just kick her off. Kick her off. Tell her, go enjoy your 24 hours because you certainly deserve it. And if you get an opportunity today, why don't you send Pastor Jenn a note? Why don't you text her? Why don't you email her? And why don't you just say, hey, Jenn, thanks for all that you're doing. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for leading so well during this pandemic. I have this, last week I was showing you my journal that my daughter and I sometimes we write our prayers back and forth in it. And at the beginning, one of the things I didn't show you is this is from my old church. And my old church put this together. And these are all just really encouraging notes of gratitude. And it's so nice. It can be so hard at times in seasons when you have to lead. And it's nice when you can go back and you can just read truth, because sometimes we can allow a lot of negative thoughts to go in our minds, and it's nice to have things in writing that you can go back to and say, yeah, I am doing it. I am doing a good job. So I go back to these notes sometimes and I just remember what the time was really like. And it's so nice to have those encouraging notes. So why don't you, not only just Pastor Jenn, why don't, if somebody's really spoken to you, encouraged you, why don't you send them a note today and just say, hey man, appreciate you, and this is the reason why. That'd be a great way to start the week, wouldn't it, if you received a note like that? So speaking of devos, we're going to jump into that right now. And one of the things that I wanted to do, I was thinking about, what am I going to talk about? And I wanted to talk about something positive, because I am one of those people that if I hang around too many negative people in my life, I can think negatively really, really quickly. But if I'm with a lot of positive people, a lot of positive thinkers, a lot of people who will just plow through issues and come up with solutions when there's problems, I can stick with them and I can roll with them, but I can as easily roll to the negative side if I'm hanging around too many negative people. So I want to try and give you a positive devotion this morning, because that's just how I was feeling and what I wanted. And so one of the things I do, I just kind of date my devos, date my prayers, put the title on my passage, and go from there. And so maybe that helps you. I hope you got a journal. If you haven't got one, I'm going to ask you again, maybe next week or the next time I lead a devotion with you. So get your journals out and start making some notes, because I love this kind of stuff. So the title of this devotion is Preparing for the Increase. I did some research the other day, and I was about churches, and during this pandemic in the churches, it doesn't matter if you're a church of, let's say, 50 people or if you're a church of 7,500 people, 49% of churches right now are seeing an increase in attendance because of online services. And that just blew me away. I was just like, that is incredible. And when you think about the reason why, even yesterday on Sunday, when you guys were hosting your live stream, I seen people hosting watch parties. And it is so incredible to think that you can have a watch party on your Facebook stream and you can invite 150 people, you can invite 300 people to jump in, and people are coming in to these watch parties, or they're coming across your live stream because it'll say, hey, Gary is watching Barrie Free Methodist Church. And so now they can see it and they can jump in. And there's just this ripple effect of so many people hearing the gospel because we're in isolation. It's just crazy to think that we can reach more people in isolation right now because of social media, because of our social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook, and Twitter even. So that is fantastic, and it's really cool to think about what God is doing through this pandemic. And I was thinking, there are a couple responses that we could have to the increase. I don't know, how honest can I be? I wonder how honest can I be? All right, let's be honest, right? Honesty is always the best way. So when I was in youth group, I remember being able to be separated from my core group of friends. And when I came to the church for the very first time, and I thought about inviting my friends out to youth group, then I thought, I don't want them to ruin it. I like what I got going on here. I got a different kind of circle here. I got a different thing going on here, and I don't want them to come in and kind of ruin the vibe of it. And so I did invite them, but it's funny because there was, in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't know if I want to welcome the increase. And so I came across this. Is that too honest, by the way? I hope that's not too honest, but I came across this passage that I thought, we could have two responses to how God brings the increase. And do you remember the story of the parable of the prodigal son? If you have your Bible, it's in Luke 15, verses 11 to 32. And again, I'm just going to do an overview of this passage, but certainly please, spend the day in that passage. I've got it right here. I've got it open, spending some time in it. So if you, spend some time in there today. But what I love about this story is, and if you remember the story, the prodigal son, the lost son, he kind of wishes, he asks for his dad's inheritance, for his inheritance. He wants his inheritance early. So it's kind of like him saying, Dad, I wish you were dead. Since you're not dead yet, could I just have my money now? It's a really weird situation. And his dad gives him the money. His dad says, all right, I'm going to give it to you. And his son ends up, if you remember the story, he lives a wild life. Like he's out there living. He's doing all the things. He's spending all the money. He's getting all the attention that he wanted, that he was looking for, but the money ran out. And he ends up eating with the pigs. He ends up with nowhere to live until eventually he's forced back home. He's forced to face his family, face his father, and realize that I messed up and I got to go back home. And so as he's on his way back home, the story says that his dad sees him from a distance and his father runs to him. And not only does he run to him, he brings him back in. He wraps him with the best clothing, and he has a feast for him. He cuts the best calf for him. They're going to party. They're going to celebrate because the son has returned. Now, the older son, I think he's older, he's not happy. He's like, wait, time out, just a minute. I've been here. I've been faithful. I've been serving you, Lord. And you're not having a party for me. You're having a party for him. And his dad says to the son, but son, he was lost and now he's not. And it's time to celebrate. And I thought, wow, those are really two very different responses. And I thought, wow, I wonder if we can have those two same responses for the increase, for people returning back to the church. We can even either have the heart of the Father that welcomes people back, that throws the very best at them, gives them the very best, throws them a party, or we can kind of like put our nose up, and maybe we don't say it out loud, but maybe we're feeling it deep inside. We've got all these new people floating around. We've got all the, people are excited and people are partying, but like, I'm not. What about me? I've been faithful. How come you're not celebrating me? And I thought, those are two very different responses. And as we are thinking about the Lord bringing an increase, I should just rephrase this. He's not bringing an increase. He's already brought the increase. We're seeing it. Stats are already saying 49% of churches are seeing an increase since they've moved online. And just for clarification's sake, if we go back a month earlier, only 3 to 8% of churches in North America reported an increase. So what God is doing during this pandemic is absolutely incredible. It's astonishing. And how are you and I going to respond to that? Are we going to throw a party? Are we going to get excited? Are we going to get up and give our very best and prepare for when people are returning? Or are we going to get our nose out of joint? And are we going to think, but what about me? What about me? It's a hard issue, isn't it? I've been there. And maybe you've been there. You know what the nice thing about getting older is? Is being able to take inventory of yourself. An honest inventory. I like not having to be as guarded anymore. I've got 4 kids. I've got a wife. I've got a good career. I like where I'm at. I don't have to be as guarded. But what about you? Are you ready for the increase? Are you ready to wrap your arms around people and welcome them? And maybe right now it's just like a virtual hug. Maybe you all can put an emoji down there, just a little big hug. Come on in here. Hug it up, hug it up. And prepare for people coming to Christ. Prepare for your neighbors coming to Christ. Prepare for family members we all have those family members, right? That we're like, I don't know if I want you in church. You're going to ruin it. Is that too honest? I don't think so. I think we've all had those feelings at one time or another. But something I want God to do in my heart, and I hope in your heart as well, that he would prepare me for the increase now, because the increase is here. So get those watch parties ready to go online next week. Get ready to invite people, maybe even private message people and give them the link to Barrie Free Methodist Church, because it's here. And I don't know about you, but I want to be ready for the increase. I want to have the right heart for the increase. And so I'm going to leave that with you today. That's your Devo. So let's get our comfy mugs, our comfy sweaters, our big ugly mugs. Get that in you, and let's just take a moment and pray, okay? Heavenly Father, Lord, I want to thank you for Barrie Free Methodist Church. I want to thank you for